Hello and welcome back. Today we have the October 2023 issue of Harper's BAZAAR. On the cover is Margaret Qualley, and without any further delay, let's get started. Okay, here we have Louis Vuitton, and I'm not really crazy about these styles. Just kind of not working for me. These images are, these outfits are pretty good here. Right, this is a little baggy, nice. So you can see here, there's kind of a mix of things that really flatter a woman and things that kind of do not flatter a woman. So, right here again, we have basically the same thing. It's again not too flattering. This is a wonderful image, and I included this because her eyes are closed, which generally in fashion photography, that would end up on the proverbial cutting room floor, right? Even though obviously today's images are digital. The term is a throwback from the film days, but you get my point. But I'm glad they included it here because art is about breaking rules, right? So the rule is never include a photo with the model's eyes closed. Therefore, you break the rule and include a model with her eyes closed. Anyways, it's a wonderful photo. Here on the left, we have Rianne Van Rompuy, and she looks wonderful in this outfit. And these are kind of trendy now. These are hip length, thigh length boots, right? And they have this relief in the knee that allows for a natural bending of the knee, so a woman's knee doesn't get bound, right? The leg movements are not artificially stiff, so this allows the knee to bend naturally, and I think that's really pretty awesome the way they designed this thigh length boot. Here, as I've said, Rianne Van Rompuy has a very high hairline, and for many years she was photographed improperly because the hair and makeup person was not taking into account her high hairline, and they were pulling her hair back, and it really was not flattering. Here you can see the hair and makeup person pulled her hair down, and it's covering that high hairline. So this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and it flatters Rianne, makes her look very nice. Here, wonderful photo, well executed, hair and makeup, everything is just wonderful. Rianne again for Fendi, same here, right? It's covering her high hairline. Everything looks wonderful. Here, this shoe is called a mule. A mule is like a traditional shoe, but the back is missing, so it's like almost like a slipper. And I never did care for a mule. I think they look horrible, but again, it's subjective. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Okay, we're starting to see some improvement here from Eddie Slimane and Celine, okay, because for years he used androgynous models who were emaciated. And about the last 12 months, he's kind of gotten away from that. Clearly, this is a female model, not androgynous, and clearly not emaciated. So I give Eddie Slimane high marks for getting his head out of that crazy space he was in for years with that androgyny and emaciation. It was terrible, and again, he's showing marked improvement. He also does most of his own photography. So this, I would imagine this is Slimane behind the camera, and it looks good. I really like this image. This one, it's so-so. shot against a fashion gray, but this really kind of talks to me. Here, so we're talking about trends. Okay, so the trend I'm noticing here is I see this a lot now. These are these belt loops with no belt. Okay, and I was just talking about making rules and breaking them. But for me, a trouser, when you have belt loops, there should always be a belt, because they make special stretch or elastic waistlines, or even non-elastic, that are even sometimes bespoke, or they just fit very well, and there's no need for a belt loop. So therefore, if you have a belt loop, the pant or the trousers should always be worn with a belt. Here we have Rosé from Blackpink. Wonderful. Just really, really well done image. We've seen this before. Giorgio Armani, the Photoshop technician, is grossly, editing the photo, but not due to inexperience. It's done deliberately to give a very, very fashionable, artistic slant to the images, right? So we're departing photographs and entering the space of illustrations with this heavy editing, but it works. It's done well. Here, I really have nothing but positive things to say about Mizell and this Maya Jama. She's a British personality, and I really feel that the high caliber model is returning to the fashion industry, right? There are hopeful signs we're getting away from this god-awful nepotism and getting back to really, really gorgeous models. So here, she's adorned perfectly with this attire, okay? And Mizell did a series of images with her, all kinds of different poses, all kinds of different clothing. So it was, probably done in one day. She did, different looks, but it's just wonderful. I mean, look at this. This is, right? She is not a natural redhead, so it's either a wig or they've dyed her hair or something. Very, very heavily made up. And it just rocks. This is the only photograph I've seen in recent history that can compare with Paul Marciano's Guess models, right? Because Guess models are on a whole nother plane. But yet this, Dolce & Gabbana, in collaboration with Steven Mizell and Maya Jama, are absolutely wonderful. So please, fashion industry, keep on this track of eschewing nepotism and welcoming back these high caliber models. So this is the other trend. So trend one was belt loops with no belts, and I've seen this now for quite a few months. They're these skirts, and they stick out. So I don't know if they're supposed to be pockets. I really don't understand what's going on, but it's just not working. So this is a horrible trend. Secondly, this is October, which is fall and winter. Clearly, this is not a fall and winter wardrobe. These other three are wonderful, wonderful, trashy, but yet this is more of a spring and summer, and it doesn't. These either Doc Marten style boots or motorcycle boots are not matching this dress. Okay, there's a serious clash here, right? And I've noticed this too for years. These high-soled, thick-soled Doc Martens have been all the rage, and that really needs to go away. Okay, this has been with us for years, and it's played out, horribly played out. Okay, Hermes lately showing these with horses, models with horses. It looks wonderful. Charlize Theron, wonderful, looks great. I love this kicker here. You have a light source coming. and striking her, right? And it takes away the flatness of the image, gives it that little kick. That's why they call it a kicker. It makes all the difference in the world. But this is still a good image, right? This model looks great, Banana Republic. And I love her smile here. She reminds me a lot of the singer Rita Ora. So this model is really channeling Rita Ora in this image especially. Okay, we just talked about Maya Jama and Dolce & Gabbana with Steven Meisel. And now we're getting back to the flagship advertiser, the best in the business bar none, which is Paul Marciano and Guess. So these images speak for themselves. I just got a kick out of this though. The lighting, if you study this, a vignette has been introduced into the image, because if you study the image, right, there's another kicker out of frame hitting this back wall. This is not natural fall off. This is a vignette, right? They've introduced a vignette in post. Okay, it's kind of hard to get into, difficult to explain, but if you study this, you'll see there's not natural fall off. This is a vignette that's been added in post-production. Wardrobe models, wonderful. A continuation, right? Marciano by Guess, tremendous, unparalleled, except, as I was saying, for now Dolce & Gabbana is trying to compete with Guess with their high caliber photography now, high caliber model choice. Here I wanted to study this. I've been studying this for a while with the focal length. So if you go too wide, the facial features get distorted. What happens is the human face gets stretched this way or stretched this way, and generally it's this way. The face gets blown out. Now when you go to the 200, 300 millimeter side, everything is flattened. So you can see here, you can clearly see the difference in space between her neck and collarbone and her face, right? You're getting this, the face is coming forward and her neck is behind, right? You're getting that sense of separation in the photo, and you cannot get that with a long focal length of 200 millimeters, right? Long portraiture. So now the three classics are 85, 105, and 135 for portraiture. But as I look at this photo, this is not flat at all. Again, we're getting this separation, and I'm thinking this is about, in full frame equivalent, I'm ballparking this as somewhere between 50 and 70 millimeters. So, as I've said a million times, I have the f2.8 24 through 70 Nikon. It's the nano crystal coated lens. It's the go-to fashion lens. Beautiful lens. And here, if I were turning my barrel, it goes from 24 through 70. I would be between 50 and 70 to get this kind of effect. So that's what I'm thinking here with this focal length. Okay, another high quality model, right? We're getting away from this god-awful nepotism. I know I'm repeating myself, but we're getting a model that's worthy of calling herself a model. And it's being repeated here. Another true model, right? And again, I'm getting good positive vibes from the fashion industry that they're turning a corner for the better. This is wonderful. This reminded me of Audrey Hepburn's outfit in The Sound of Music when, right, she was a nun and she takes a leave to go visit the family Von Trapp, and she's in very basic utility type clothes. And you can see here this is a wool. It's beautiful, very conservative, right? It's shot on location. It looks like possibly Italy, right? But my point is, wonderfully conservative clothing, but it's still gorgeous, right? Here, this woman, when I saw her, at first I thought it was LaToya, and I'm sure it's not, because LaToya is considerably older now. But this could have, right? She could have been channeling LaToya circa 1980s, 1990. But she has a wonderful look, and it's a wonderful photo. Here, I was going to insert this fan brush. I was going to peel this back and do a little sample, but this is really powerful, extremely powerful. So I think it's going to make, my point is it's going to make me sneeze. So I'm not going to do it. Here, I've said this before, and I don't mean to be unkind, but when a woman is like in an A cup, okay, the reason women do this is when they have some cleavage to show off. So generally that means a C cup or bigger, right? C cup, D cup, double D. You can do this to show off some cleavage. But this woman here, she looks to be in an A cup. And you never do this in an A cup, because the point is to show off cleavage, but the woman has no cleavage to show off. So I really don't blame her. She's just a model who showed up for the shoot. But the fashion editor who did this to her, this is really a trespass. That's a transgression, right? You don't do this to an A-cup model. That is just wrong. Okay, here on the left, again, we're getting back to this conservative look, as I was showing you a few images ago. Where was that model? Right here. Right, so you can see we have wool, and it's a long dress in here, right? These are not mini skirts by any means, because it's fall and winter, so it's a longer length, and we're getting into wools. But look how wonderfully conservative these outfits are. So we're getting a return of conservative wardrobes for 2023, and they look wonderful. Again, this is another one I was going to do, but I decided not to because I was afraid it was going to make me sneeze. This image here, God bless her, right? She is who she is, but this type of image has no place in a fashion magazine. Samira Nasser ought to be ashamed of herself for running this image, because if I ran this magazine and Dove sent me this as an advertisement, I would reject it. I would say, no, thank you, but it's not within the standards of this magazine. You're going to have to do better. You're going to have to send me a better photograph, and a photograph using a model that's more representative of a fashion model instead of a standard person, right? Because that's what it is. That's what this is all about. It's about using high caliber models. Okay, Dooney & Bourke, if you're not aware, this is a wonderful bag. It's very affordable. These bags are generally in the $300 and less range. Real leather. Michael Kors and Coach and Dooney & Bourke represent the best values in bags. When you get to Louis Vuitton and Hermes, you're getting into bags that cost between $6,000 and $25,000 US dollars. But these bags are like $300, and they're beautiful. So again, I have full disclosure. I have no financial interest, no relationship whatsoever with Dooney & Bourke, okay? None. I'm just recommending their bags because they're awesome and they're a good value. Okay, here, Balenciaga. Now Balenciaga has been a train wreck for some years, and this is what I'm talking about. So this is old Balenciaga from a few years ago. Look at this monstrosity. What a joke. This is like a parody. This is something you would find as a parody of the fashion industry. So, right, you don't want to be a parody of the fashion industry. You want to represent the fashion industry. So this is a disgrace. This is okay, a little bit too big, right? But it's workable, and this is absolutely beautiful. Look how form-fitting this clothing is. Look how beautiful, and look what a joke this is. So Balenciaga for years has needed to clean house in their fashion designers, right? And they still haven't cleaned house, and they desperately need to. And this is okay, right? So you have three of the four look okay, but you have this, right? It's like, what is this? What is this joke doing in a fashion magazine? How did it make it? How is this person, the person who designed this, how is this person still employed at Balenciaga? Really, I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Okay, so this is the other trend. Okay, so we have Doc Marten thick-soled boots that have been around way too long. But the new ones, and the Blur, okay, we still have the Blur that's been with us for years. Pants with belt loops where there's no belt, and now this brief. So the way it's been worn recently is generally a woman is wearing a full-length leotard, and something like this would be worn over the leotard, okay? So it's a body stocking or a leotard with a bejeweled brief over it. And it looks terrible, even when it's on the bare skin like this. It's terrible because it's now cliche. Everybody is doing this brief. It's either bejeweled or some type of design in it, and it's thick, and it's just horrible. And I really dislike the way there's so much plagiarism in the fashion industry, because you'll get something like this pop up in a photograph, and then all the other fashion editors and photographers want to copy it. Everybody's doing it, and it's been reduced to a horrible cliche, and it's just ugly. Okay, and we have this, which is wonderful. Very practical clothing, right? Look at how form-fitting. Earth tones. This is fall and winter, even though this is a little bit on the light side, kind of like a British tan. It's a little bit light for fall and winter. It could probably be a little bit darker, but it works. Okay, this is wonderful clothing. And they even got kind of crafty here. They've taken a paper shopping bag and put handles on it, paper handles, to make it look like a high-end bag. But it's just a paper shopping bag. So, high points to them for getting creative with that. And then lastly, here we have Dior. Beautiful model, wonderfully photographed, right? Tremendous photography. Nice model. Again, doesn't look like she's, right? There's no nepotism. She was hired based on her looks and her physique, which is what they should be doing. So again, overall, I'm impressed. I'm seeing these trends that I don't like. I didn't do any tracing today, okay? Forgive me for not doing any tracing. But overall, I really got a good feeling that these fashion magazines are starting to turn around and return to the 1980s type of model, where these models were hired in earnest, right, based on their appearance and what they're bringing to the table, as opposed to who their daddy and uncle might be, So it's right. It's hopeful. So let's leave it at that. I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.